The Anjikuni Lake Disappearance, Canada, 1930. In the winter of 1930, a fur trapper and fisherman named Joe LaBelle was making his way across the frozen Canadian tundra. Exhausted from the harsh journey, he decided to stop by a small Inuit village on the shores of Lake Anjikuni, a place he had visited many times before. Joe knew the villagers well. They often traded with him, welcomed him with warmth, and he had come to trust them. But this time, something was very wrong. As soon as Joe arrived, he noticed the silence. No children playing, no barking dogs, not even the familiar smoke rising from the snow huts. The entire village was silent. At first, he thought they had all gone hunting together. But when he ventured further inside, what he found chilled him to the bone. The huts were untouched clothes, still neatly folded, tools in their places. Meals sat unfinished on the tables, pots of stew still warm, dried fish hanging above the fire. Everything suggested the villagers had just stepped outside only moments earlier, but not a single soul was there. Then came the most disturbing discovery. Joe found the village's sled dogs lifeless, starved to death, still tied to their posts. For the Inuit, dogs were life itself. No one, under any circumstance, would ever abandon them. Terrified, Joe rushed to the nearest telegraph station and contacted the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Soon, an RCMP patrol arrived to investigate, and what they uncovered only deepened the mystery. Not only was the entire village gone without a trace, but in the village graveyard, one grave had been dug up. The coffin lay open empty. No one could explain who or what had taken the body. To the Inuit people, disturbing a grave was a sacred taboo. Theories began to swirl. Some believed the villagers had been attacked, but there was no sign of violence, no blood, no struggle. Others thought they might have migrated elsewhere. But why leave behind food, tools, clothing, and their dogs? And then came the wildest theory. Perhaps the villagers had been abducted by something not of this earth. The disappearance was too sudden, too perfect, too clean. Over the years, the story grew into legend. Locals spoke of strange lights hovering above Lake Anjikuni, glowing orbs drifting silently across the night sky. Many believed they were not stars, but ships of spirits from the heavens. To this day, the Anjikuni Lake disappearance has no official explanation. Some modern scholars argue that journalists exaggerated the details, but the RCMP has never released a statement denying the events, and that silence only feeds the legend. Because in 1930, an entire Inuit village, hundreds of people vanished into the night, and nearly a century later, we are still left with nothing but questions. USS Cyclops, the giant ship that vanished in the Bermuda Triangle. In March 1918, during the tense days of World War I, the United States Navy operated a massive ship known as the USS Cyclops. This heavy cargo vessel stretched over 165 meters in length, weighed nearly 20,000 tons, and earned the nickname the Giant of the Atlantic. Its main duty was transporting manganese ore, an essential material for producing steel used in the war. On the 4th of March, Cyclops departed from the port of Barbados, carrying over 300 sailors and passengers, along with thousands of tons of manganese ore. Its destination? Baltimore, USA. Weather reports were normal, with no sign of any major storms, but then the USS Cyclops vanished without a trace. No distress signal was ever sent. No wreckage was ever found. Not a single body surfaced. The massive ship seemed to have evaporated into the heart of the Atlantic Ocean. The location of its disappearance? None other than the infamous Bermuda Triangle, the stretch of ocean between Florida, Puerto Rico, and Bermuda, notorious for swallowing ships and planes. The loss of the USS Cyclops became one of the largest disappearances in U.S. naval history and the single greatest non-combat loss of life for the Navy during World War I. What puzzled investigators most was the absolute silence of the ship's communication system. At that time, even in emergencies, a captain could send out an SOS signal. Yet, from Cyclops, there was nothing, no warning, no final words. It was as if the crew never had the chance to react. Theories quickly emerged. 1. Sunk by a German submarine. In 1918, German U-boats were actively hunting Allied ships, but in this case, no German records or claims of responsibility ever surfaced, and no evidence supported this theory. 2. Overloaded and capsized. Some researchers suggested that Cyclops was carrying too much manganese ore and, with only one engine, could have easily lost balance in rough seas. But even then, there should have been wreckage, debris, or oil slicks. The ocean remained eerily calm and empty. 3. Betrayal from within. Suspicion also fell on the ship's captain, George W. Worley, a controversial figure of German descent who had been accused of harboring sympathies for Germany. Some believed he might have deliberately delivered the ship to the enemy or orchestrated its disappearance. Yet again, no proof was ever found. 4. The Bermuda Triangle curse. This is the theory that captured the public's imagination. Dozens of mysterious disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle have left no trace. Cyclops was simply the largest victim. Stories tell of magnetic anomalies sending compasses spinning, giant rogue waves swallowing ships whole, even theories of a portal that consumes anything entering its path. The U.S. Navy conducted multiple investigations, but the final report contained only a single chilling line. The disappearance of USS Cyclops cannot be determined. For over 300 families, it was a devastating truth. Their loved ones were gone without explanation, no bodies to bury, no evidence to hold on to, just the cold reality that the giant ship and everyone aboard had slipped from existence. The story of the USS Cyclops laid the foundation for the legend of the Bermuda Triangle, and even today, over a century later, with advanced ocean mapping technology, Cyclops has never been found, as if it had never existed at all. Seicento people missing in Brazil. South America has always been a land of mysteries. The endless Amazon jungles, ancient civilizations that vanished without a trace. But among them, one case still leaves historians and criminologists baffled: the disappearance of an entire village. Hoer, Verde, Brazil, 1923. Hoer Verde was a small settlement of about 600 inhabitants, tucked deep inside the Brazilian rainforest. The community lived quietly, surviving on farming, hunting, and logging. But then, one day, they were all gone. The story began when a Brazilian military unit entered the region, responding to reports that the village might have been seized. They expected to find villagers, or at least signs of occupation. Instead, they stumbled into a ghost town. Houses stood open and abandoned. Pots of food still warm sat on tables. Clothes hung half-dried on clotheslines. The school stood silent, but on the chalkboard, written in charcoal, was a single chilling message. "There is no need for men." That cryptic phrase became the only clue left behind. But what did it mean? A warning? A curse? A ritualistic statement? The search that followed revealed no bodies, no signs of violence, no evidence of an attack. 600 people had simply vanished into thin air, without blood, without footprints, without a single trace. Theories soon emerged. 1. Mass evacuation. Some believe the villagers were forced to leave due to political unrest or military pressure. Brazil, at the time, was plagued by rebellions. But why abandon food, belongings, and leave no record of their destination? 2. massacre and cover-up. Others suspected the military or armed groups slaughtered the village and disposed of the bodies. Yet hiding 600 corpses without leaving evidence would be nearly impossible, and no official documents ever confirmed it. 3. Occult ritual. A darker theory suggests Hoer Verde may have been part of a cult or mass ritual where the entire community vanished in a mysterious event. Much like other mass deaths in history, the chalkboard message could have been their final declaration. 4. Supernatural forces. Local legends tell that the village was swallowed by something beyond human understanding, a portal to another world, or even extraterrestrial abduction. With no evidence left behind, this supernatural explanation remains one of the most popular. Strangely, after the event, Hoer Verde disappeared even from maps. Few official records mention it, leaving behind only scattered testimonies and fragments of old reports. This absence has fueled suspicions that the truth was deliberately hidden. But for those who believe it happened, Hoer Verde remains one of the most chilling mass disappearances of the 20th century. A once thriving village, overnight, became nothing more than a ghost town with a single haunting message on a blackboard as its last trace. To this day, Hoer Verde lingers as an unsolved mystery. No bones, no graves, no explanation, only a cold silence hanging over South America's history. These mysteries remind us that the world still holds secrets we may never fully explain. If you'd like to keep exploring the dark files of history with me, don't forget to follow this podcast. Your curiosity is what keeps this journey alive.